Have you ever tried so hard to impress everyone, but forgot the most important person? Yourself. You see, we live in a world where likes, comments, promotions, and titles define our worth. But what if I told you the only validation that truly matters is the one staring back at you in the mirror every morning? Today, we're not talking about proving it to your boss, your friends, your family. We're talking about proving yourself to yourself. Because when you do that, nothing outside can shake you. Let me ask you something. How often do you look in the mirror and really see yourself? I don't mean just a glance before brushing your teeth or checking your tie. I mean really see yourself. Not the mask you show the world, not the filtered image you post online, not even the good boy or good girl you try to be for everyone else, but the real you. You see, the mirror doesn't lie. You can fool the world with smiles, with status updates, with appearances. You can convince people that everything is perfect. But when you stand alone in front of a mirror at night, when the house is quiet, when there's no one to impress, it's just you and the truth. And here's the thing, that reflection doesn't care about your degree, your title, your car, your followers, or your bank balance. That reflection doesn't applaud your achievements. And it certainly doesn't forgive your excuses. It only shows one question. Did you give your best today? Let me tell you a story. Once, I met a young man who was chasing success relentlessly. Every day, he was trying to prove himself to his boss, to his friends, even to strangers on social media. And one day, I asked him, "When was the last time you tried to impress yourself?" He looked at me blankly confused. He had been so busy proving himself to the world that he had completely forgotten the most important person, himself. The mirror doesn't care if you are famous. It doesn't care if you have 1,000 friends online. It only cares about your effort, your integrity, and your courage. It reflects your actions, your habits, your discipline, or the lack of it. And here's the beautiful thing. When you start proving yourself to yourself, when you start valuing your own effort over applause, something magical happens. Suddenly, the opinions of the world lose their power. Suddenly, criticism becomes guidance and failure becomes feedback. And suddenly, the person staring back at you smiles. Not because of what you've achieved, but because of who you are becoming every day. So today, I challenge you, the next time you pass a mirror, don't just glance at your reflection. Stop. Look closely. Ask yourself, am I proud of what I did today? Am I living in a way that my own heart can honor? And remember, the mirror never lies. So if you want to change your life, start by proving yourself to the one person who matters most. Yourself. You know, life is full of battles, but the most important ones are often the silent battles we fight within ourselves. These are the moments no one sees. The times when you're exhausted, when the world seems indifferent, and yet you decide to take one more step, to try one more time, to push a little harder. That's where true strength is built. Not in the applause of the crowd, not in the recognition of others, but in the quiet persistence of the soul. I remember a young athlete I once met. Every morning, he would wake up at 4 a.m., run before the sun even thought of rising, lift weights in a nearly empty gym, practice his skills while his friends were still asleep. And no one really noticed. No one posted about it. No one applauded. When I asked him why he kept going, he said something that struck me deeply. I am competing with the person I was yesterday, and I need to win that race first. That, my friends, is the essence of silent battles. These are the battles where nobody is watching, where failure is possible, temptation is easy, and giving up seems so much simpler. And yet, it's exactly in these battles that character is forged, resilience is built, and confidence grows. Because when you train yourself to show up consistently, when you push beyond what feels comfortable, you start realizing something profound. You don't need validation from the world to know your own worth. Think about it. How many times have we avoided doing something simply because there was no one to notice? How many times have we quit a habit, stopped a practice, or abandoned a goal because no one was cheering us on? But life doesn't reward only the visible effort. Life rewards the consistent, the persistent, and the brave, especially when no one else sees it. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more silent battles you win, the easier life's loud battles become. Because you've trained yourself to endure, to persevere, to trust in your own capabilities. The world may throw challenges at you, people may doubt you, and circumstances may seem impossible. But inside, you know the truth. You have faced yourself, fought your inner doubts, and come out stronger. So, when you feel discouraged, when the world seems quiet, when no one notices your effort, remember, it is in these unseen moments that real greatness is born. Keep showing up, keep striving, keep pushing. Because the person you are becoming in silence is the person who will shine brilliantly when the world finally watches. Comparison. Oh, this is such a sneaky thief of joy, isn't it? We live in a world where social media, achievements, awards, and even casual conversations constantly remind us of what others have, and suddenly, we start measuring our lives against someone else's highlight reel. We look at our friend's promotion and feel inadequate. We scroll past someone's vacation pictures and think, why am I not there yet? We hear about someone's success story and immediately begin doubting our own journey. But here's the truth, and it's a very liberating one. Your journey is yours alone. The person sitting beside you in life, the one with a bigger house, a faster car, or a more exciting career, do you know what they don't have? Your heart, your struggles, your failures, and your unique path. When you compare yourself to others, you are essentially ignoring the lessons, the battles, and the growth that belong only to you. Let me tell you a story. There was a student, bright and hardworking, who constantly compared himself to his classmate. Every time he scored 90, he thought, it's not enough because he scored 95. Every time he tried something new, he measured it against what his friend could do. He was miserable, stressed, and exhausted because he wasn't competing with himself, he was competing with everyone else. One day, a mentor told him, don't race against someone else's finish line. Run your own race and beat the person you were yesterday. That advice changed everything for him. He stopped looking left and right. He focused on his own growth, his own effort, his own journey, and slowly, not only did he improve academically, but he found peace, joy, and confidence he had never known. Comparison is dangerous because it never ends. There will always be someone taller, faster, richer, or more talented. But here's the secret. The only person you need to outshine is the person staring back at you in the mirror yesterday. Every small step, every tiny improvement, every effort you make, even when it seems insignificant, is a victory. And when you focus on yourself instead of others, you stop running on empty, stop feeling anxious, and start feeling alive. Remember, the grass may look greener on the other side, but it's a mirage. Your path, your lessons, your timing, they are perfect for you. The moment you stop comparing, the moment you embrace your unique journey, life opens up its doors to happiness, fulfillment, and authentic success. Because true peace doesn't come from being better than someone else, it comes from being better than you were yesterday. So, today, let's make a promise not to compete with the world, not to chase someone else's dreams, but to honor our own journey, beat our own past, and celebrate the small victories that only we can see. The moment you do that, comparison loses its power and your life finally becomes your own. Failure. Nobody likes to talk about it. Nobody wants to embrace it. From the moment we are born, we are taught to succeed, to win, to shine, and yet, life has a way of teaching us that the most important lessons often come wrapped in failure. The key is not to avoid failure, but to learn from it, to fail forward, to see every setback as a stepping stone towards something greater. I remember meeting a young entrepreneur. She had poured her heart, her savings, and every ounce of energy into her first business. She dreamed of success, recognition, and financial stability. But it didn't work out. Customers didn't come, investors didn't respond, and soon she found herself staring at what felt like complete defeat. She was ready to give up, to declare that maybe she wasn't meant to succeed. But then she realized something important. Failing doesn't mean you are failing. It means you are trying. And trying is proof that you are alive, that you are learning, that you are moving forward. She picked herself up, analyzed what went wrong, learned every lesson, adjusted her approach, and tried again. And the next venture, though small at first, began to flourish. Slowly but surely, she realized that her failures were not the end. They were the guideposts on her path to success. Every time we fail, we are given a choice. We can let it define us, shame us, and stop us, or we can let it teach us, shape us, and propel us forward. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stagnant isn't that one never fails. They both fail. The difference is that one uses failure as fuel, as a teacher, as a stepping stone, while the other lets it become a prison. Even in small things, this is true. You try a new habit and it doesn't stick. You attempt a new skill and you stumble. You speak up and your words fall flat. In those moments, the first instinct is embarrassment or self-doubt. But here's the magic. Every failure carries information. Every mistake shows you what doesn't work. And every stumble is an opportunity to rise stronger. Think of the bamboo tree. For years it shows nothing above the soil. Months pass and it appears stagnant, lifeless. But under the ground, it is growing a network of roots, building a foundation. And then suddenly it shoots up, growing inches by inches, reaching heights that seem impossible. That's how failure works in life. The effort, the lessons, the repeated attempts, they are all preparing you for the moment when success finally blooms. So, if you are afraid of failure, remember this: failure is not a verdict. It is evidence that you are daring, that you are trying, that you are alive. Each time you fail forward, you are proving to yourself that your courage is stronger than your fear, that your determination is bigger than your setbacks, and that your potential is far greater than any obstacle. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that your failures were not the moments you lost. They were the moments that taught you how to win. Motivation is a funny thing. It's exciting, inspiring, and uplifting, but it's also unpredictable. Some days, it hits you like a wave. You wake up full of energy, ideas flowing, heart racing, ready to conquer the world. And other days, nothing. The alarm rings, your to-do list stares at you, and you think, maybe tomorrow? That's why motivation alone is not enough. Motivation is like the spark. But what truly lights the fire of transformation is consistency. I met a young musician once. She dreamed of performing on big stages, but she struggled to practice. On some days, she was filled with passion, playing for hours, feeling unstoppable. On other days, she gave up after 10 minutes. And unsurprisingly, progress was slow, disappointing, frustrating. But then a mentor told her something simple, yet life changing. Talent without discipline is wasted. Passion without consistency is like a candle flickering in the wind. You need to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. And she did. She committed to practicing, even when she was tired, even when inspiration was absent, even when life got in the way. At first, the progress was almost invisible. But gradually, her skills strengthened. Slowly, she began to see improvement. And eventually, the small, consistent steps transformed into mastery. The spark of motivation was important, but it was consistency that carried her to her dream. Life works the same way. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for a bus that may never come. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, or the perfect circumstances is a trap. Real change comes from showing up day after day, step after step, action after action, because consistency compounds. Just like money in a bank account, small deposits every day eventually grow into something incredible. The work you do consistently, even if it seems invisible, even if it feels small, adds up. It shapes your habits, your character, and eventually your destiny. Think of a gardener. You can't plant seeds and expect a tree the next day. You water it, nurture it, remove the weeds, and wait patiently. Sometimes it seems like nothing is happening. But with consistent care, the roots grow strong underground, and eventually the tree blossoms and bears fruit. Your efforts, your discipline, your daily habits, no matter how small, are building the foundation for your success. So today, I challenge you, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait to feel like it. Decide that you will show up consistently every day, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one is watching. Because the person you are becoming through consistent effort will one day be unstoppable. And that, my friends, is the true secret to achieving anything in life. Small wins, oh, how often we overlook them! We live in a world obsessed with big achievements, promotions, awards, milestones, recognition. And while these moments are wonderful, they are rare. They don't happen every day. What happens every day are small choices, small actions, tiny victories that no one sees, but which quietly shape who we become. Let me share a story. I once met a young woman who dreamed of running a marathon. She had never run a day in her life, and the goal seemed impossible. On the first day, she ran only a few minutes and felt exhausted. On the second day, a little more. On the third, slightly longer. Each day, the progress seemed tiny, almost invisible. And yet she didn't give up. She celebrated every step, every increase in distance. Every moment she pushed herself a little further than yesterday. Weeks later, she ran a 5K. Months later, fun 10K. And eventually she completed her first marathon. What carried her through wasn't a single giant leap, but the accumulation of countless small wins. Small wins are like building blocks. They may not seem significant at the moment, but over time, they create a foundation that is unshakable. Brushing your teeth every morning may feel mundane, but it keeps your teeth healthy. Waking up 15 minutes earlier each day may feel trivial, but it gives you time to focus, reflect, and grow. Reading a page, practicing a skill for 10 minutes, choosing kindness in a difficult situation. These are the small wins, and collectively, they define the person you become. Here's the secret: small wins build momentum. Just like rolling a stone down a hill, the first push may feel heavy, almost impossible. But once it starts moving, every rotation makes it easier, faster, stronger. That momentum carries you forward, often beyond what you imagined possible. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. How often have you ignored a small achievement because it felt insignificant? How often have you waited for a big success to feel proud, only to realize that the small steps were what truly mattered? Those steps, those tiny victories, are the ones that make you resilient, disciplined, and capable of taking on challenges you once thought impossible. The world often praises the dramatic moments, the graduation, the promotion, the award. But life rewards the patient, the consistent, the ones who value and celebrate small wins every day, because those small wins, unnoticed as they may be, quietly compound into extraordinary results. So today, I encourage you, don't wait for a big win. Don't measure your progress only by milestones that seem far away. Start noticing, celebrating, and valuing the small victories. Finish that one extra page. Take that extra step. Make that one additional call. Smile at yourself for the small effort. These small wins may seem invisible now, but they are the invisible threads that weave the fabric of your success, your confidence, and your life. And remember, every giant achievement in the world is made of countless small wins that someone, somewhere, had the patience and courage to honor. Integrity. Ah, what a simple word, and yet, what a powerful force it is in shaping a life that is truly worthy of respect. Integrity isn't about doing something grand, or winning accolades, or impressing others. Integrity is about doing the right thing, even when it is hard, even when no one is watching, even when the whole world seems to reward shortcuts and compromises. Let me tell you a story. I once knew a young man working in a corporate office. He was ambitious, bright, and had opportunities to gain favor, promotions, and praise by bending the rules just a little. It would have been so easy. Just a small shortcut here, a little exaggeration there, and no one would have known. But he refused. He chose honesty. He chose fairness. At the time, it felt like a burden. His colleagues seemed to be getting ahead faster. He faced delays and frustration. But years later, when challenges arose, he was the one trusted with responsibility. He had built a reputation, not for what he did when everyone was looking, but for what he did when no one was. Integrity is your invisible trophy. No one can take it away. It doesn't require approval, applause, or acknowledgement. And yet, it is the one thing that gives you unshakable confidence. Because when you act with integrity, you don't live in fear. You don't second guess your actions. You don't compromise your peace of mind. You can sleep at night, look in the mirror, and know that the person staring back is someone worthy of respect, not for what others think, but for what you know in your heart to be true. Think about it, life will often tempt you to take shortcuts. People may praise results without asking questions. Society may reward cleverness over character, but shortcuts leave invisible cracks. They may give instant success, but they erode self-respect. They create fear, doubt, and guilt. Integrity, on the other hand, builds a foundation so strong that even storms cannot shake it. It becomes your compass, your shield, your anchor. I want you to reflect for a moment. When you face a choice between what is easy and what is right, what do you choose? When the world is watching, it's easy to act with honor. But what about when no one is? That's when integrity truly matters. That's when your character is forged. That's when your life is shaped into something extraordinary. And here's the beauty: integrity is contagious. When you act with honesty and courage, others notice, even if silently. Your friends, your family, your colleagues, they begin to trust you. Opportunities come your way, not because you are flashy, but because you are reliable. Your reputation precedes you, and your life begins to align with respect, honor, and fulfillment. So today, I urge you, do the right thing, not for fame, not for reward, not for anyone else's applause, but for yourself. Build a life where you can stand tall, look people in the eye, and look in the mirror every morning and smile. That, my friends, is true victory. Because integrity is the only trophy that never fades, the only success that never diminishes, and the only recognition that truly matters. Effort. Effort is something we often underestimate, yet it is the most powerful signature of who we are. You see, everyone wants results. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants to be praised, recognized, and celebrated. But the world rarely notices the sweat, the tears, the countless quiet hours of dedication that lead to those results. That effort, your relentless striving, your discipline, your persistence is your true signature. It's your invisible badge of honor that no one can take away. I want to tell you a story. There was a student preparing for an important exam. Every day, he would wake up early, study while others slept, and push himself beyond his comfort zone. His friends often mocked him, saying, "Why are you working so hard? Just do the minimum." But he continued. And on the day of the exam, he didn't just rely on luck. He didn't hope for a miracle. He relied on the countless hours of effort he had put in quietly, day after day. He didn't just pass, he excelled. And here's the remarkable part. The people who had mocked him didn't see the effort that had created the success. But he did. And that was enough. Your effort is like a signature because it leaves a mark of your values, your dedication, and your character. You may not always get the applause. You may not always get the recognition. But every time you give your best, every time you push past comfort, every time you refuse to quit, you are leaving a mark of who you truly are. No one can erase it. No one can fake it. Your effort is uniquely yours. Think about it in life. A painter spends hours blending colors, creating strokes, adjusting shades, often alone in a studio. When the painting is complete, people admire it, but they don't see the countless hours of work behind it. The musician practices scales tirelessly, rehearsing over and over before a flawless performance. The athlete trains relentlessly, day after day, enduring fatigue, pain, and failure, long before the crowd sees the medal. That unseen effort, that dedication, that commitment, that pushing yourself quietly, is what transforms ordinary people into extraordinary ones. And here's the secret. When you focus on your effort rather than the applause, something magical happens. You stop worrying about what others think. You stop seeking validation. You start competing only with yourself. You begin to notice growth, progress, and improvement in ways that no one else can see. And that builds an inner strength, an unshakable confidence, and a sense of pride that cannot be taken away. So today, I urge you, don't measure your worth by recognition or reward. Measure it by the effort you put in, the courage to keep going, and the resilience to face challenges without giving up. That effort, your relentless striving, your personal commitment, your perseverance, is your true signature. It is the story of who you are, the mark you leave on the world, and the legacy that will follow you long after applause fades. Remember, results may come and go. Praise may be temporary, fame may fade, but the effort you invest, the sweat you shed, and the integrity with which you work, that is eternal. That is yours. That is priceless. That is your signature on the canvas of life. The inner critic, oh, we all know that voice, don't we? That tiny, persistent voice inside our heads that questions everything we do. It whispers, are you good enough? It warns, maybe this will fail. It sneers, others are better than you. And the danger is, if we listen too closely, that voice can become a chain that holds us back from realizing our true potential. But here's the beautiful truth, that inner critic can also be your coach, your guide, your ally, if you learn how to train it. You see, life isn't about silencing the inner critic, it's about transforming it. Instead of letting it tear you down, you can let it push you forward. Instead of fearing its doubts, you can use them as a mirror to understand where growth is needed. I want to tell you a story. A young athlete I knew was terrified of failing at a competition. Every time he practiced, the voice inside his head said, "You're not fast enough. You'll fall, you'll embarrass yourself." Initially, he listened. He hesitated. He held back. But then, with guidance from his coach, he began to treat that voice differently. He didn't fight it. He didn't ignore it. Instead, he asked, "Why are you saying this? What can I learn?" And slowly, he realized that the inner critic was not his enemy. It was highlighting areas where he needed more focus, more practice, more courage. He trained harder, he pushed further, and when the competition came, he performed beyond his own expectations. Your inner critic works the same way. It's the voice that points out fear, doubt, and weakness, but it also points the way to growth. When you stop being afraid of it, when you stop letting it paralyze you, you can start using it to improve, to prepare, and to push yourself beyond what you thought possible. Every time it says, "You can't," you can respond silently, "I will try anyway." Every time it warns, "It's too hard," you can respond, "I will learn." Think about it like this. Imagine a sculptor carving a block of marble. Every strike, every chip seems harsh. The marble resists, it seems difficult. But those tiny, precise strikes are what reveal the masterpiece hidden within. Your inner critic is like that marble. It challenges you, tests you, and even frustrates you. But if you channel that energy wisely, it can help sculpt the best version of yourself. And here's the profound part. The people who achieve greatness are not those who never hear the inner critic. They are the ones who listen, learn, and then act despite it. They are the ones who transform fear into focus, doubt into determination, and criticism into courage. They don't let the inner voice define them, they let it refine them. So today, I want you to make a choice. The next time your inner critic whispers doubt, don't panic. Don't give up. Don't believe it blindly. Instead, ask, what is this teaching me? How can I rise above it? Because the inner critic, when trained, becomes the most powerful coach you will ever have. The one who keeps you honest, keeps you accountable, and pushes you to be better than you ever imagined. Remember, the voice inside your head may speak constantly, but it does not have to control your destiny. You are stronger than that voice. You are capable of more than it suggests. And when you learn to work with it, rather than against it, you unlock a power within yourself that no one can take away.